Hey, what is up everybody? It's Insig97 here, and today we are going to be talking about the Tier 6 Premium USS Arizona in World of Warships. Now, for a brief history on the USS Arizona, and basically its life. USS Arizona has a fairly lackluster history as far as armed conflict goes. BB-39 was first launched on June 19, 1915, roughly 2 years before America declared war on Germany, bringing them into World War I. She was the Pennsylvania-class battleship, which was the second to last of the Super Dreadnought class of battleship that America would produce. Her main armament comprised of 12 14-inch guns, situated in 4 turrets, 2 forward and 2 aft, and could reach a top speed of 21 knots. Sadly, the Arizona didn't see much action during World War I. She was only used as a training vessel for sailors who would go on to serve on merchant vessels, which crisscrossed the Atlantic at the time, providing supplies and troops for the Allied forces. She would rarely venture out to sea in fear of the rising U-boat threat and the control that Germany had over the Atlantic at the time. And before too long, World War I had ended. However, just before World War I came to an end, the crew of the Arizona did end up winning the Battenberg Cup, a large-scale race that the U.S. Navy holds every year as a symbol of operational excellence. After the war, the Arizona went under many modernizations throughout the 1920s and the 1930s. However, the next time the USS Arizona would end up seeing action was during the attack on Pearl Harbor. Around 7:50 a.m. on December 7, 1941, Japanese aircraft would swarm over Pearl Harbor. 5 minutes later, the Arizona's air raid siren would go off. 10 B-5N Kate torpedo bombers, 5 from aircraft carrier Kaga and 5 from Hiru, each loaded with an 800-kilogram bomb, would dive down onto the Arizona. Out of the 10 bombs, 4 would end up landing direct hits, and 3 would detonate right off either side of the ship. The last bomb to hit the Arizona penetrated the deck near turret 2, most likely ending up in or just outside the main turret magazine. About 7 seconds after the bomb struck the Arizona, the main forward magazine exploded. It's said that the explosion was so violent that it caused both the forward turrets to fall nearly 30 feet into the ship's hull, and the foremast and funnel to collapse on top of them, as well as snuffing out the fires that were aboard the repair ship vessel Vestal, which was moored alongside. 1,177 of the 1,512 sailors on board would end up dying as a result of the explosion. Several awards were given after the attack on Pearl Harbor. Ship Damage Control Officer Samuel G. Fuqua was awarded the Medal of Honor for remaining calm and collected the whole time while extinguishing fire and evacuating the remaining crew on the ship. Rear Admiral Isaac C. Kidd was also awarded the Medal of Honor posthumously, and Captain Franklin Van Valkenburg, who commanded his ship bravely to the very end, was also awarded the Medal of Honor posthumously. The USS Arizona herself was awarded a Battle Star for her service in the war. In 1962, the wreckage of the USS Arizona was labeled as a national shrine and had a memorial built over the ship, as well as having a marble wall with the names of all 1,177 sailors engraved in it. And to this day, the memorial still floats above the wreckage of the USS Arizona as a remembrance of that fateful day. So, how does the USS Arizona play in World of Warships? Honestly, I would just basically call this ship a much better USS or New Mexico class battleship. The artillery is pretty much the same as far as the guns. However, the performance of the actual guns is slightly increased. They tend to do more damage to targets. I'll regularly get anywhere from 6 to 12,000 damage just on normal, not really penetrating shots on any other type of battleship. However, the one thing that this ship does have that the New Mexico class doesn't is this really, really nice firing range, 18.6 kilometers, which in the game is pretty much nearly on par with the Japanese battleships of the equivalent tier. Also, something to notice from the USS New Mexico is the way the ship or the forward part of the hull is actually shaped. It's a lot more angled back and is a lot easier to actually bounce shots off of the front when steaming right along up to an enemy battleship. It also has quite a substantial amount of torpedo protection, as you can see right here by the torpedo belt that lines the entirety of the ship, all the way back to the aft end of the ship. And it just seems to do very, very well. Also, the maneuverability is not that bad for a ship. It's fairly slow, but with the correct upgrades on it, you can get the ship or the rudder shift time all the way down to 11 seconds, which is nearly half of that of the New Mexico. Also has a relatively tight turning circle. Now the AA isn't very great. I mean, it's not bad. However, I wouldn't honestly recommend trying to let the AA save you from enemy aircraft. Honestly, sail next to a cruiser or something like, or maybe even a destroyer. Some destroyers probably have quite a bit AA defense than this thing does. However, the concealment isn't terrible. It's not great. 14 kilometers. Of course, once you fire the guns, you're pretty much spotted from across the entire map. But besides that, it's actually a really, really good ship. It just plays very, very well. It seems to do very well in nearly any conditions. Kind of a very nice all-round ship. Nice punching guns, nice firing range, decent ability to protect itself as far as armor and anti-torpedo, as far as the belt armor here on the side. It's just an all-around really nice ship that, I really, really enjoy playing. It's one of the few battleships that I just really get into, as far as playing. It's almost like the Warspite as far as, that armor and that ability to get into a really close encounter and brawling type scenario. It doesn't quite have the secondary armament as the Warspite does. It's not bad, but it's not great either. It's adequate, I would say. But it's just, for some reason, the ship is just a lot of fun to go out and sail in. But don't take my word for it. I'm going to show a couple replays, and they're not great. I think it's like my first and third battles that I ever, set out in this ship, and hopefully you guys will enjoy.
Penetrated. Confirmed penetration.
Torpedoes, dead ahead. Torpedoes, direct front. Torpedoes, dead ahead. Enemy cruiser detected. Enemy aircraft carrier. Torpedoes to port! Torpedoes to port! Torpedoes to port! Hull breach, we're taking on water quickly. Enemy aircraft carrier. Torpedoes to starboard. Torpedoes to starboard.
Enemy destroyer sunk.
Enemy destroyer sighted. Enemy aircraft carrier detected. Enemy battleship sighted. Spotter airborne. Detected. Ship detected. Enemy aircraft carrier sighted. Enemy cruiser detected. Spotter returning to ship. battleship sighted. Enemy aircraft carrier detected. Enemy cruisers.
Bullseye!
enemy cruiser foundered. Battle starts.
Enemy force sighted on the horizon.
destroyed an enemy cruiser.
Confirmed penetration.